So tell us a story, because I think it's quite interesting, isn't it? So
one of the unique things about us is
Wow.
which is a jaw-dropping moment, isn't it?
talk to me about how you got them to market.
Suddenly we're selling to places like the North Pole,
I just think that's the most incredible brand marketing case study.
and that became our overriding mission.
So for episode 3 of Team BRIT Talks, we are at the HQ of Christopher Ward Watches. Christopher Ward are a long-term partner of our team, and we're being hosted by them today actually for the launch of our season. So I'm delighted to be here with Mike France, who is CEO and co-founder of Christopher Ward.
That is my correct title.
Tick.
And I also am delighted to be here with you.
What an amazing place we're in today.
You enjoying it? Yeah.
Oh, we're having the best time. So thank you so much for hosting us.
It's our pleasure. You were reminding me earlier about the last time you were in our HQ, which was slightly different, cozy, but not quite as modern as this. But so it's we've been here about 15 months now, and it's been transformation.
Yeah, I mean, what a wonderful home for you guys. It's fantastic. So, and we're delighted to be here with you at this important event. So we wait over the winter to get going. So kicking off the season is such a big day for us. So to do it with you guys is just great.
Well, it's our pleasure.
Thank you. So I said there at the start, you are the co-founder of Christopher Ward. So you started this off. And for people who don't know, Christopher Ward is a luxury British brand of watches, but positioned as affordable luxury.
Yeah, accessible.
Yep. So it's kind of a gateway for people who want to become watch enthusiasts and find this incredible brand.
You've read all of the bump, you know more than I do. Yes, no, it's exactly right. The mission we had from day one was to make luxury watches as accessible as possible for everyone, and that hasn't changed in the 21 years we've been going.
21 years. So
I know, it's ridiculous.
And you've been there that whole time. So tell us the story, because I think it's quite interesting, isn't it? So how did it all come about?
Boredom, really. Peter Ellis, one of the co-founders, he and I had in April 2004 just sold a company called Early Learning Centre, which was an educational toy brand. And you can only be on the beach for so long, can't you, really? And I'd been on the beach.
I don't know about that, yeah.
I've been on, fair comment. I'd been on the beach for about a month, and I was already getting itchy feet. And so whilst the reality was, I suppose sounds strange, but we didn't really need to work again. We were very fortunate. But that was never an option. The question was, what were we going to do? And we'd been pretty early adopters of the internet at Early Learning Centre. In '97, we launched our first website, and people back in '97, '98 said, "You'll never sell anything off the internet." We ended up selling things like climbing frames. So it was clearly something that we saw as the wave of the future. Peter and I had opened in our retail careers more than 1,000 stores, bricks and mortar.
1,000 early learning centres?
No, not just early learning centre stores, quite a few of them, but also other major retailers. I'd worked for people like, way back in the day, brands like Littlewoods, Principles, BHS, so Cable and lots of different businesses. So all of which were pre-internet, obviously, and retail was then bricks and mortar. Tiring, hard work. The internet was where we imagined the growth was going to be. So we decided, firstly, we wanted an internet-only brand. What it was going to be needed some thought. Now, the story is, and it's true, we went on a boat trip, like 3 men in a boat, one May, in May 2004, to determine what it was we wanted to do. By this time, Chris Ward, he of the name, the ubiquitous name above the door, we and Peter and I were on the boat, few bottles of beer drunk. Always you want to do something that you relate to, that you enjoy. If you can be passionate about, although passionate is a often overused words
Yeah.
these days, I think. But one that would be new, interesting, be able to be shipped around the world quite easily. A relatively high value. We didn't want to be busy fools selling
Yep.
£25 t-shirts.
Yep.
So what was that going to be then? And something that we were interested in? Well, it was either going to be jewelry, which I was in touch with my feminine side, but they clearly weren't, or watches, which I was probably the one who was most interested in.
Right.
Watches. Having said that, I knew nothing about the technical side of watches. None of us did at the time. But we decided that if it was going to be it couldn't be sofas, for instance. It's hard to ship sofas around the world very easily. So watches fitted the criteria we set ourselves. So what do we know about watches? Nothing, apart from I like them. So the fortune we had, and there's always lots of good luck in anything you do, any endeavor. I think you need more than a modicum of luck.
Yeah.
We were fortunate in that we knew some people. We knew one particular gentleman, a chap called Woody Lamb, who was a Taiwanese Chinese guy.
Right.
His father owned a very large textile business back in the day in Taiwan. Woody, however, when he was a young man, wanted to become a watchmaker. And he was one of only 32 people the Swiss back in the 60s took into Switzerland to teach them dark arts of horology. I think they may have regretted that at some point and never invited another class of 32 back. Anyway, Woody was set on this course, probably came top of his class, smart guy, Woody, went back to Taiwan. His father died. He was therefore expected to take over as the eldest son, which he was, take over the family business, which he did, which meant the end of his ambitions to become a watchmaker. Woody therefore took over his father's business. He moved it from Taiwan to central China, where 20 years later, 30 years later, he had become Adidas's second largest worldwide supplier, employing about 8,000 people.
Right.
But always kept an interest in watches. And when we would be negotiating with him on programs of sweatshirts or whatever in the past, when I was in clothing and all the rest of it, he would often get his tools out during his watchmaking tools out in mid negotiation, take his watch off, take the back off, start regulating his watches, which was clearly a distraction technique so that he got a better price out of us.
Okay.
So we knew Woody was really into watches.
Yeah.
And so we contacted him, and we knew he told us a story about the class of 32. So when we decided to go into watches, we said, well, let's get hold of Woody. Woody, can you help us? Certainly I can, says Woody. Not only did he know many still of the class of 32 who now were running the Asian arms of many of the largest brands in the world that we would all know and love. He'd also collected for the previous 20 years every Mintel report on watches. Yeah, these are big, thick documents. I don't know if you're familiar with them, that give you market information about watches, the watch industry. And he shipped them to us. And I was surrounded by a pile of Mintel reports about this high, and spent weeks embroiled in the watch industry, just learning as much about it, deciding where we would pitch the product that we would going to sell, and ultimately decided northern lads, mother on shoulder, all these luxury watches far too expensive. Okay, so we'll try and make them accessible. Went over to meet some of these people Woody had put us in touch with. The fortune we had was they immediately welcomed us, as Woody had said, were good guys. And they started showing us incredible detail about the watch industry, including first cost pricing. And what we learned at that point was that some of these very famous brands that I can't mention because I'd be sued, were multiplying the cost price to you, the customer, not by what we would consider a fair and reasonable markup, maybe 3 times, which is what we settled on for Chris Ford, but in one example, 34 times.
Wow.
Which is a jaw-dropping moment, isn't it?
34 times.
34. So if it cost them £1,000 to make the watch, they were selling it to you at £34,000. Yeah,
That's a margin and a half.
that is a margin and a half. Now, not all of that. That was an outlier.
Yeah.
But many of them, most of them were anything between 8 and 12, 15 times,
Okay.
which we thought, frankly, okay, they had some costs. George Clooney costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So build that into the cost
Yeah.
price. So we decided from the get-go that we would have a lean operation. The internet allowed for that, but we also had, as I say, mums on our shoulders, good northern mums saying, "How much are Michael?" And therefore we wanted to make beautiful watches possible for as many people to buy, and that became our overriding mission. And if there was one thing at that point, were we passionate about watches? No. Are we now? Yes, but we didn't know much about it. What we were passionate about was delivering something extraordinary that people would just have their jaw drop over, and that meant creating something of real quality at a previously unseen price. So that's why we decided on our pricing structure.
So the design element then, in creating something that is beautiful, as you say, that watch enthusiasts will come along and say, "I need one of those." How did that come about when you had no background in watch design? Neither did your business partners. So where did that design element coming from?
Well, the very first two watches, both the Malvern Automatic and the Malvern Chronograph, which launched in June of 2005. We'd employed the company we'd last had as designing our lorries at Early Learning Centre.
I don't know where this is going.
They were a brand new design company. They both come from Adam D.V. Smith, whose company it was. At that time, it was called Easy Tiger. They had to change it because somebody had registered that name. It's now called the One Off. It's now one of the biggest branding agencies in the UK.
Okay.
They don't get out of bed for less than $1 million now. Way out of our league. But he decided he wanted to move away from his big organisation, set up his own design company. The first job he ever had is go and design the sides of our wagons for Early Learning. So, but he did an amazing job of. We had an I Spy thing going on, so kids in cars going down the motorway would be I spying, and if they saw our lorries, it would have an octopus on the side of it, and I spy something beginning with O. It was great fun. So we thought, no better track record than that to be now designing watches.
I mean,
Obviously,
it's simple. Yeah.
It's so obvious. And he'd set up in his house in Melbourne, in Derbyshire.
Yeah.
His poor wife, who ultimately divorced him. I don't blame her, by the way, because we went in, and he had his front sitting room was kind of a meeting room. His kitchen was the canteen, and he had a sort of a rear area which was entirely designers. There were like 15 people in this house. His poor wife was running around. Anyway, we set about designing watches with these guys, and you have to understand at this stage we had no idea that the design of a watch is largely driven by the movement that's within it.
Okay.
Yeah? We were drawing watches and agreeing with them that they should do this with chronograph eyes in places that you would never ever expect.
Right.
So the first ones we learned very quickly, but they then came up with some beautifully simple designs, which were the Malvern Automatic and the Malvern Chronograph, which allowed us at least to be going out saying, "Here's the designs, can we get them made?" Which we did. Of course, subsequently, for quite a number of years, I got more and more familiar with watch design, but I can't operate a CAD. But we had people who could, and we would spend aeons of hours working with them on design. So for the first 10 years, it was largely just us, me and Chris and a guy called Fraser, who were designing the watches. as I look back, it's remarkable that we got anything designed that would sell. But we somehow managed to do it. And of course, the world has moved on, and we've now got, I think, some of the finest young designers in the world of watches working for us, which is again another piece of great luck. There's a good story around that as well, but maybe we'll get to that.
Okay. So you've now got these designs, you were happy with them, and you said to me at the start that you'd gone from bricks and mortar retail, a career in bricks and mortar, to actually being one of the first companies to be online, which of course is the only way we know life these days. So you've got the designs. Talk to me about how you got them to market.
Well, as I say, we set off wanting to be purely an online only, pure retail, pure online watch brand, first ever. Again, just as had been the case at Early Learning Centre, people contacting me saying, "Are you absolutely mad? You are never going to sell a watch that's costing £500, £1,000. Who's ever going to buy a watch without seeing it first?"
And that someone hasn't held in their hand and tried on, I guess.
And my response was, well, they said that about climbing frames. If you can sell a climbing frame, you can probably sell a watch. Anyway, it was slow. I'll be honest with you, it was pretty slow to start with. But we built the site, it went out there, we put our 2 watches on, and we had taken some ads out in The Independent.
Oh, okay.
When it was a decent paper. And this would be around about November, December. We'd gone on sale in June. We'd put the first ads out there probably in September. The sales started ticking up, not hugely, but suddenly we're selling to places like the North Pole, and which was to a scientist, as it turned out, in the North Pole, to the US, to Australia. And apart from convincing ourselves that we must be marketing geniuses, we had no idea why this was happening.
Why it was working.
And what had happened, again, huge stroke of luck. Somebody had seen our ad in The Independent, and the pricing and the componentry that we were claiming was in the watch at a price that they didn't think was possible.
Okay.
And so this particular person had a friend, would you believe, in Tasmania, called Dave Malone. Dave was a lecturer at the University of Tasmania, but his hobby was horology. And he knew quite a lot about watches, probably more than we did at the time, in fairness. He knew a lot about watches. This chap in the UK sent a copy of the ad to Dave. Dave, seeing it, ordered a watch from us. So we suddenly, we'd sent a watch to Tasmania. He had intended to expose us as the charlatans we surely were. Yeah.
Okay. He's going to out you.
He's going to out us. So he ordered a watch. We unknowingly sent this watch to him in Tasmania, and he took the back off and knew what he was looking at, and knew that actually what we were saying was true, that this was a genuine Swiss movement. It was from ETA as a 28242. I know you want to know that. And there's a special mark on the Swiss-made ETAs, and he realised that. And he was also, as well as being a lecturer in Tasmania, at Tasmania University, now where he's a doctorate, I think he's got a doctorate there as a PhD. He was also one of the key posters on a forum called timezone.com, an American-based forum, which was at the time, this is going back to 2005, was the largest forum for watch lovers to go to on the internet. Okay. We didn't even know it existed, by the way. We had no idea it existed. And so he had intended to post onto this forum that we were clearly shills, that we were paying people, or that we were lying about the componentry. Instead of that, he posted, and I've got a copy of it, the most incredible post, which essentially said, "I have discovered the best value mechanical watch the world has ever known."
Oh, wow.
We had no idea this post had gone up because we didn't even know Time Zone existed. But of course, the watch world at the time, they were reading this. And of course, Dave was a respected chap on
Yeah.
Time Zone. Therefore, if Dave says these are fantastic, we'll have one. So we were getting these orders from people who are reacting and responding to Dave's post, to the point that Michael Sandler, who was then the owner and chief moderator of timezone.com, he assumed that we were paying all these people to say good things about this brand nobody had heard of. Who the hell are these people? What is Chris Ward? And he started throwing them off. He started banning them from the site. One chap called Hans van Hoogstraten, a Dutch gentleman, as you may have gathered from the name.
These names are lodged in your brain.
Yes, Hans contacted and said, look, I've been thrown off Time Zone. You must be aware of the furore that's going on timezone.com. Timezone.com? What? No. He said, well, you're being talked about more than Rolex. What? Why? He told us the story. He said, and he'd been thrown off. He was so indignant, he contacted us to say, would you object if I set up a forum devoted to Christopher Ward? What? You want to set up a forum? Well, and who's going to pay? I'll pay for it, says Hans. He was in the world of IT. So he set up the Christopher Ward forum at his cost entirely.
And this is before social media.
This is
just an online platform he set up himself, effectively a website that he set up. Yeah. Wow.
All paid for him, his server, the lot. And that was, again, I mean, you mentioned pre-social media. What it was the very start, if you like, of social media. And taught us very early on that the watch community was a very unusual community. There are a few of them. I mean, automotives, cars, etc. Another one where the passion of the people involved in the community of being interested in watches or cars or whatever was incredible. I've never come across anything like it. And this was the very start of it. So I suppose in many ways it gave us a head start about how you build a community online around your company and your products, which many people took more than a decade. The big brands, they were 10, 15 years behind us in even beginning to register that the internet and the online community and social media was something worth involving themselves with, put in. So we had that huge piece of luck. Now, of course, the forum has thousands and thousands of members. It has over it's millions of posts.
That same forum is running today.
Yeah, he ran it. Hans ran it for 10 years. His wife eventually said, look, Hans, might be useful as well as your day job of IT and then every waking hour spending moderating the Chris Ward forum. Maybe you'd like to spend a little time with me. So he contacted and said, look, I've got to give it up. Would you like to buy it off me? And we said, yeah, okay. I mean, by the way, we had always supported and helped wherever we could. Editorially, we never, ever, and still to this day, have never, ever intervened in any commentary. So I think it's respected as a truly authentic, genuine place and independent, which is not usual. Most brands want to control the editorial. We decided from day one, no, we're not going to do that, for good or bad. And often it's the bad that helps you. So, and you learn more if we certainly learn more about the things we do wrong than the things we do right. That's still the case. But so we said, look, okay, yeah, we'll, and he sold it to us for almost nothing. I mean, in fairness to Hans. So we bought it. His number two, a guy called Kip McEwen, who was his senior moderator by this time, or the system moderator. We made Kip the senior moderator. Kip lives in the United States and has been an amazing friend of the brand for 15 years or more. Kip himself owns more than 140 of our watches.
Oh my goodness.
So he's a good customer as well. And he's with a team of moderators now. He's managed that. He's also the chief archivist of our brand. The forum led by Kip have put together, if you're a member of the forum, you have access to it, the most incredible archive of every single watch we have ever sold with the detail. Yeah.
Wow.
and we believe it to be the most comprehensive archive of any brand in the world. And it was all done by them, not by us. Honestly, the guys here, when we need to know something about the history of the brand, we
You ask
often go
them.
to them. They know more than we do.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And in this new building that we're in now, we've got 3 showrooms, which hopefully the visitors this evening will be attending.
Yeah.
There are 3 rooms. We've named those rooms Malone, Hoogstraten, and McEwen after the 3 people who really have a huge say in the success of this brand.
I just think that's the most incredible brand marketing case study
Do you?
I've probably ever heard. I mean, because you effectively had an influencer before influencers were a thing.
Yes,
And
indeed.
they
Yes, yeah.
completely changed probably the course of any marketing strategy you would have built.
Oh yeah, I mean we learned about community. We learned about talking to customers all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where we were they were not slow on being critical. Great, that's great feedback.
Mhm.
We also encourage them to help in the design of watches. Most recently and quite famously, we wanted to make the greatest dive watch the world had ever known. Small ambition. We do like ambition.
Probably technically very easy.
Yeah. And we had our ideas and we put it out to the forum. The response of what they wanted in a dive watch is just, I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of ideas, lots of them coalescing around certain things. And we were able to incorporate those ideas into the final versions of the watches. And of course, it has been a hugely successful platform. So it's enlightened self-interest to really be close to your customers. It's also bloody enjoyable because I often say they own the brand, we don't own the brand. I mean, they care so passionately about this brand. And I think part of it is because many of them have been on this journey with us for 20 years or more.
Yeah.
And they care about it to a degree I've honestly never. At Early Learning Centre, you're selling educational toys, and parents, there's nothing more important to a parent than doing the best thing for their child. So that was a remarkable brand to be involved with. I've got to tell you, this is even more so. It's like absolutely incredible. I had no idea. But how lucky are we to be involved in something that is like that?
I just think brands would pay millions, I think, to have the level of passion that your customers have for the product you're creating, and for them wanting to be so involved in it, still pay for it, but to have a say in how it develops and so on. I just think it's an incredible achievement. And God, if you look back now to sitting on that boat drinking your beers, would you ever imagine that this would be where you'd be 21 years old?
21. No, not really. No, if I'm honest, no.
We're really proud that we are now part of your story. And part of the Bristol
Likewise,
story.
by the way.
Thank you. So this is 4 years on now. So 4 years ago, you were approached by Mike.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So
randomly.
This is how we work.
As is Mike Scudamore's word.
Absolutely. But as with any successful brand, I'm sure you get a lot of speculative emails from people asking for help, which is effectively what we do when we're trying to get people to help us with what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So what was it about Team BRIT that made you actually think, I'm going to read this email, I'm going to listen, and I might even speak to it?
Well, we have a rule, which is we read every email from anybody, and we always speak to people. It doesn't matter what it's about, not just about sponsorship or anything else. It's like you never know. And if you're not curious in this life, you're never going to know. Yeah. So curiosity is one of the sort of key tenets of Chris Ward, or I'd like to think so. So he was always going to get a hearing. However, you don't need to go very far into the Team BRIT story to be completely enraptured by it. I mean, here was a story unfolding in front of us that I'd never. We talk about ourselves being a challenger brand and taking on we took on the Swiss watch industry, blah, blah, blah. I mean, Team BRIT are taking on the world of motorsport in a way that I find, so genuinely so inspiring. And it was hard not to be inspired by just the story. I think we agreed that we would go forward, and then we were invited to the launch in the city. I think it was at British Assurance's offices in the city, where you were launching the McLaren.
Mm-hmm.
And so Peter and I wandered in, and what saw the car was great. Wandered up to some very high floor in a very, very glossy city building, and bumped into Paul Fulham,
Paul Fullick,
Fullick, one of the drivers, and I think he was looking after the simulator, something like that. Anyway, we just chatting to him. So, what's your story then for? And he said, well, he said, I lost my leg not long ago. How long ago? Well, about 9 months ago. Oh. He said, how do you do that? I lost it on a ride in a motorbike. No. Oh, right, okay. So, and then it's, well, I wanted to get back on. I want to go racing again on a motorbike. He said, problem is, he said, I could do it, but if I came off, had an accident, I could blood out before they could get people to me. What? So he said, so I decided be safer to go in on four wheels, and fortunately he came across Team BRIT. Hey, talking about, just remarkable sort of, and so we were like absolutely spellbound by Paul's story. And then as you got to know more of the team, you got to know the ambition of the team, you got to know the skill, frankly, because I think it's easy to forget. We're talking about highly skilled drivers, technicians. The whole team is incredibly skillful at an elite level. And, and yet you're not elitist in any way at all. And we are attracted to things that are elite, but not elitist, that are challenging.
Yeah.
Where, there is a, for want of a better expression, a goodness running through it. And therefore it hit all of those value sets that we would like to think that we encompass to some extent. But here we were confronted with something that had that in droves, and it was very humbling, and still is. It still is incredibly humbling to be a small part of Team BRIT.
Well, you've made such a difference to us over a relatively short time, actually, and we're really lucky to have lots of supporters and sponsors that help us in different ways. But you've definitely grasped the partnership as a brand. You're so involved with us. I mean, having us here today. We were talking earlier about being out in the new American showroom when we went over in November, which was so exciting. It was brilliant. And
Mike sends his love. I just told him you're in, and he sends his love.
Yeah, and we were just welcomed so warmly. And what you just said about being elite but not elitist, I think all of your team sum that up so well, because they work to the highest standards. You can tell they work in effectively luxury, but they're the nicest people. They're so welcoming.
Some of them are. Some of them
are. All of the ones that I met have been.
No, they are.
And you know what? I don't know if you heard this story, but when we had the event at your showroom in Virginia, we had the racing car out the front that we were about to race with Resilience Racing out there, and it wouldn't move. So we had me, Mike, pushing the car up a hill to get back to back to the lorry that was going to take it onto us. But they didn't bat an eyelid, we could have been mortified, but we knew we were in very safe hands. We were welcome with family, and it was just great. And we also got to meet some of the enthusiasts that you're talking about, and the love they have for watches when you've not been part of that world before, like you were before you met the people running the forum and so on. And it's just an incredible world to be part of, isn't it? So
it is. There's something very elemental about it, and for whatever reason, I think there are similarities and overlaps between. I mean, when asked, as we ask our customers regularly, which is your number one sport? It's motorsport. Yeah. There's a real connection. It's mechanical. And we own we have one or two quartz watches, but essentially we're a mechanical watch brand. And I think that's an elemental thing. And so yeah, it's a joy and a pleasure, and we are very privileged. So thank
No,
you.
it's
Thank
fantastic.
you.
So, and we're talking today about the launch of the season
Mm.
and what's ahead for us. So we know we've got a super exciting year ahead, and we know you're going to be part of that. What's ahead for Christopher Ward? What can we look forward to seeing?
Well, as ever, we've got some amazing launches planned for the year. One major launch in the end of April, several more into the summer, and then some just astonishing things happening in the autumn. So the lifeblood of any business is new product.
Yeah.
Certainly a business like ours, and as I say, we've got a team that is, I think, works at a much faster pace than many. And I think partly it's because we didn't come from the watch industry, and our backgrounds are in things like fashion and toys and things like that, where newness was more regular against a watch industry that's very conservative, quite slow moving.
Yeah.
One of the unique things about us is we have that energy that drives the thing forward. So newness in terms of product as ever. The other thing is you should expect to see our footprint in the United States growing, and you can expect the unexpected, because that's what we like to deliver.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's interesting what you just said there about you kind of feel like you're constantly putting yourself out there amongst probably a quite traditional watch sector. And we talked earlier in the Q&A about someone asked us, how do other teams view us? I think it might be you asked
There
the
was,
question, actually.
yes, yeah.
And it's really interesting because, you know, we turn up and we look amazing and people are intrigued by what we're doing and kind of think, well, who are these guys and what are they doing? You probably have the same kind of experience. People are saying, well, hang on a minute, who are these?
Well,
Who are these guys?
Yeah, I think less so now. I mean, 20 years in, 21
Yeah.
years in,
In the
when
early days.
when we started, I mean, people didn't take us seriously.
Yeah.
I think they probably do now. And yeah, there's a kind of a mutual respect. I mean, we have a huge amount of respect for the watch industry. It's a really complex world, like cars are. You know, we're dealing in, you know, still today, mankind has never developed a smaller micro mechanical unit than a watch. It is the most precise mechanical unit mankind has ever created. And to have that sort of thing in a small container on your wrist,
yeah.
is still a wonder to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's a wonder to many people. There's something, as I say, quite elemental about it. I now understand how it all works. And for me, the luxury industry is interesting. It tends to obfuscate and not want people to know, believing that if you keep it as a mystery, that will deliver something great to the brand. We take the opposite view. The more you know about the creation of a watch, a mechanical watch, the more fascinating and enduring it is for you as an individual. And so we are, I suppose, more transparent than most of the businesses as well, because we want as many people, back to the original mission, we want as many people to enjoy owning and wearing a mechanical watch than ever was possible previously. And as I say, that's the mission today, and it was the mission day one.
And it's obviously working. Just drop some of the accolades you've recently won.
Okay.
Because it is impressive.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're kind of watch pro. We've been the British Watch Brand of the Year 3 years in succession, as judged by Watch Pro magazine. The Bel Canto watch, which we launched in 22, similar timing to our partnership. You know, won a what's known as the Swiss Watchmaking Oscars, a GPHG award. We've been nominated every year for other watches. The watch I'm wearing now, the C12 Loco, which has our own movement in it, was up for a GPHG last year. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's nice to have awards. I don't, but I mean, you know, it's more important that we keep doing what we're trying to do, which is deliver the unexpected to people. That's what really gets us out of bed every morning, not not winning award, nice though it is to be recognised.
Well, I mean, I think you should be proud of those accolades, and I'm sure you are.
I'm very proud of the people.
Yeah. I
very
mean, you've
proud
got a
of the people.
fantastic team around you, haven't you? And just a huge swell of support from people who buy watches.
Yeah, we're very lucky.
Absolutely.
But it's as I've never done a day's work in my life. I wouldn't do this if it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
And Peter and I have this phrase that we've used for many, many years, where even before Christopher Ward, if you're not in business for fun and profit, what the hell are you doing here? And that's what we literally live and die by. It's got to, you can make money if you're not having fun doing. What's the point? And if you're not making profit, it's not much fun. So fun and profit is really what we're about, or we try to do.
Well, I hope we bring some more fun.
You certainly do. You brought chaos today. Never
I'm
mind
so sorry.
fun.
We have taken over this place for hours.
No, it's great
So,
to have you all here.
No, we've had a great time. Thank you. And yeah, well, here's to more fun making.
Absolutely.
More success together.
Absolutely.
And chasing some more titles.
Yeah, and for both of us. And here's to a great season for Team BRIT,
Thank
which
you.
I'm sure is going to happen.
Thank you. Oh, and before I let you go, I keep forgetting to do this. I need to ask you to nominate who I should interview next. So that's a hard question.
It
So
is.
pick someone in the team that you know. Can't be Mike, because I've already done one with Mike.
Paul?
Paul. Brilliant. Paul
Yeah.
is the next one in the hot seat.
Yeah. Good. All right.
Thank you, Mike.
Pleasure. Cheers. Thanks.